Hi friends, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I'm back with another build for the Not So Berry challenge, which I do play over on Twitch. And today we're actually building a house for, I think it's Gen 8. It's the Peach generation of Not So Berry. I believe it's Gen 8, but don't hold me to that. I could be wrong, which is kind of crazy actually because we are pretty close actually to like finishing up with the Not So Berry challenge on Twitch, which is actually crazy. I feel like I literally just started playing this challenge a little while ago, but it has been definitely like a year and a half or something at this point since we started playing. So yeah, we're currently on the pink generation, but at this point our peach generation heir, she has already aged up into a young adult, and that is why I was long overdue to build her house. So that's what we're building here today. We're in the world of Innisgreen, as you can probably tell. In the very colorful neighborhood. It's the coastal neighborhood. I think it's called Coast of Admore. And I feel like a Not So Berry house of any color would blend in here perfectly because the world, or this neighborhood in particular, is just so incredibly colorful, and you can literally get away with any type of like whatever color house you basically want to build will look good here because it is so vibrant and colorful and just really fun in this neighborhood. So we're here on, I think it's a 40 by 30 lot. It is definitely a little bit of a bigger lot, which is why I decided to actually build two neighboring houses here. Now for my gameplay, we're only going to use one house. We're only going to use the peach house to begin with, but it is essentially just two neighboring townhouses next to each other. I end up making them mirrored from each other, which is not what they are right now, but they will. At some point I'm gonna swap that out for two mirrored townhouses, like all the way. They are kind of mirrored right now, but the way I place like the staircases and the porches and stuff wasn't mirrored all the way just yet. It's okay though, like I'll fix that later in the speed build. But yeah, we are only using the peach townhouse actively, and then I just kind of built a blue one next to it because I wanted to fill up the space. And I just essentially, I wanted to build for Not So Berry, but I also just wanted to build some fun, colorful townhouses here in the world of Innisgreen because I felt like it would just go so nicely. So I just kind of did a mixture of both, I guess. And if you wanted to use this as a residential rental and have two rental properties next to each other for two separate households, then you can definitely use it in that sense as well. I feel like it'd be very functional for that too. Though I will say I haven't played with residential rentals in a while. I feel like they are pretty glitchy for a lot of people, but then also I've heard that that's just when you do residential rentals in the world of Tomarang. So I don't know if that's the case for everyone or if that's just like something that goes on for some people. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't played with residential rentals in a while, but because I feel like they've been a little buggy, I also haven't really been building a lot of them either. I mean, my love for residential rentals kind of was overrun by the my love for small businesses that came out later because I just love building small businesses with residential spaces or like houses attached or apartments or whatever. But yeah, this one could be very easily used as a residential rental. If that functionality actually works properly for you, then that should not be an issue, and really fun actually. Like you could have two really fun, like friendly neighboring households live here, or maybe you could have like a family in one and then maybe the grandparents in the house next door or something like that. I feel like that could be really fun. But like I said, I will only be actively using the peach house, and so the blue one isn't all the way furnished either. It is basically just like move-in ready, where we do have all the plumbing. There's a kitchen with all the appliances and everything. There are a couple of random pieces of furniture in this house, but it has floors, it has wallpapers, it has a floor plan, and like I said, all the plumbing and like the kitchen and stuff. So it's essentially move-in ready, and then you could do with it whatever you want to do, which I do think is fun for gameplay too. Like if you want to use this in your own game, then that is pretty nice to have, I feel. But we are going to just focus on the peach house, and then for my gameplay, we're going to pretend that it's just like an empty house next door that no one ever moves into. And then at some point, because the peach generation heir, she has the joke star aspiration. She wants to become a comedian. And so I think it would be really fun for her to essentially buy the property next door, quote unquote, because I mean, obviously she's going to live on this property already. So technically both houses are hers, but we're going to pretend that's not the case. And then she will open up her own comedy bar or like kind of lounge kind of thing next door. And then she'll have her own bar with like a performance stage where she can like host comedy nights and invite people to come over and perform their joke routines and all those things. And maybe also have like a piano and a microphone up there and like a guitar for musicians that want to come and play their sets at the bar. I feel like that would be such fun gameplay and such a fun idea for a small business too. I've never actually done that where I had a sim run essentially just a bar or a lounge. Like I've done cafes and things, but never really a bar or a lounge. So I feel like that could be really, really fun to try out and something for Georgia, her name is Georgia, to work towards, to like quote unquote buy the property next door and, you know, renovate it into a bar. We're definitely going to have to put some money into that because it looks like a house. Like it's not set up for a bar or lounge or anything like that. So we are going to have to like gut renovate the place. Is that how you say that? Basically from top to bottom, and come up with an entirely different floor plan and all those things and like bathrooms and whatnot. So that's going to be really fun to like something to work towards, and it's just something fun to know is going to still happen when you're like playing the game and you're actually like actively saving up for stuff. So yeah, that's going to be really fun, I think, for us to do. But that said, I did only furnish the Peach Townhouse fully, and I really like how the Peach Townhouse came out. I think furniture wise, it just was really fun. I was kind of scared to do a peach not so berry house because peach isn't really a color that is very well represented in the game. It also doesn't have its own color tag or like filter in the game either. So what I ended up doing was just like filtering for stuff by selecting the color pink and orange, both of them, and then kind of see what comes up. And there ended up being some stuff, but it's not as easy as say building a house for pink or like orange, you know, like that would be a little bit easier to find stuff for. But it ended up working out, and that's also why I was so inspired to build in the world of Innisgreen, because the Enchanted by Nature pack actually does come with a bunch of items and like wallpapers and stuff that are literally peach colored. So as you can see, I'm using this wallpaper for the exterior of both townhouses actually in different colors. It's like those really pretty, I guess you could call them like shingles. I'm not exactly sure, but I really like that wallpaper, and the colors are so beautiful and vibrant, and it comes in the perfect peach tone. So I guess this one wallpaper was my entire inspiration to build in the world of Innisgreen and like turn it into townhouses too. I don't know, I could just really see this particular wallpaper on a townhouse and just have these really fun, vibrant, colorful townhouses. So yeah, that's essentially what we ended up doing. And like I said, I really like how this came together. Now, when I do build for Not So Berry, especially when it comes to interiors, but sometimes also exteriors, I do like to, yes, focus on the color for that specific generation, but I also definitely like to include some neutrals to tone it down, and also one other accent color to kind of balance everything out a little bit more. In my opinion, like, it's just not fun for me to really solely stick to one color and you know, having to place items only in that color, and then the same goes for wallpapers and floors and all those things. And it is just not as fun for me because you'll end up with so many items in the same color, but like different shades or like tones of that color. And it's really fun for the like challenge aspect of it all. I think that would be really fun to do. But personally, when I do a lot of gameplay in these houses, I don't know, I want it to be fun for me, and I want it to be aesthetically pleasing for me. And so usually I'll end up going with some neutrals and then also one more accent color to kind of combine it with, but I'm heavily focusing on peach for the interior still for this one. And then the accent color that I chose is actually blue, so it kind of ties back into the exterior for this build in general too. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I ended up using a lot of, I guess, honey wood tones, like lighter, warm wood tones, because they kind of lean peach in a way, and they showed up under the orange color tag or like color filter too. So I ended up using a lot of like honey wood colors, lighter, warm wood tones as a neutral. I think I also ended up using white as a neutral in this house as well, which was a really nice, fresh touch for it too. And I don't know, I really like how this house ended up working out. even though I was a little bit scared at first. Like, I really didn't think we would pull it off, but it was really fun. And then actually I cheated for this one a little bit. I cheated my own rules because for the kitchen, I think I also ended up using, I know I ended up using green and peach as opposed to blue and peach, because I came across a floor tile, I think it was from For Rent, pretty early on, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. It was literally peach and green together, and it was so pretty. And then I ended up finding a lot of items, like kitchen items, in those same like green and peach tones, and it was just really, really great, and I was having so much fun. I think the kitchen for this house is my favorite room. I know we're currently still on the exteriors, as you can see. Like, it took me a minute to figure out how I wanted to do the landscaping, how I wanted to do the backyards. I feel like the landscaping for this one is not too overwhelming. I definitely did some like overgrown landscaping in the corners, you know, kind of like lining out the house and stuff. I ended up going for front yards that are like fenced in, which isn't something I normally do at all, but I was just kind of looking at these townhouses and thinking, something's missing. I need something to fill up the like curb appeal of it all, you know, like add something more in the front. And so I started messing around with fenced in front yards, and it actually ended up looking so cute. So that's what I did for both of these townhouses, and I think it turned out really, really fun. So yeah, so a little bit about the peach gen. So our heir, if you're not familiar with the Not So Berry challenge, I feel like I do a little overview of what this challenge is every time I do a voiceover for another Not So Berry build. Basically, it's just a 10 generation legacy challenge where each generation is based on a specific color. You probably wouldn't guess, I know. And they have a certain set of traits, and they also have some pre-written like goals and stuff that you kind of have to work towards. I usually I go by the rules of the official Not So Berry challenge, but sometimes I swap stuff out for things that came with more recent packs that I want to play with or whatever. You know, sometimes I like tweak the rules a little bit to fit to my gameplay style or like the things that I want to do. But generally, I stick to the actual rules of the Not So Berry challenge. I will link it down below in the description. It was written by Lil Simsy, actually, like a long time ago at this point, and it is such a staple gameplay challenge. It is so fun. And I've actually never played it before. This is my very first playthrough of it, so it's really fun. And so yeah, our Peach Generation heir, she is a young adult at this point, and the Peach Generation, I don't know all the goals and stuff by heart, but I know that she has the joke star aspiration, but first she's going to be working as a police officer because she just kind of grew up in a little bit of a chaotic way, and there are so many things that she enjoys. There are so many things that she likes to do. She also plays an instrument. In my case, it ended up being the piano, so we also have a piano in this house. So she is very versatile. There are so many things that she likes to do, and for the longest time when she was growing up, she just didn't really know what she wanted to do. So she decided to do it all, you know? She's becoming a police officer, which was kind of inspired by the fact that we once had a burglar show up at our house, the house that she grew up in Henford-on-Bagley. We once had a burglar show up, and her mom, actually, the Pink Gen heir, her mom, she ended up fighting off the burglar. Was it her mom or her uncle? I'm not exactly sure. I think it was her mom fighting off the burglar, and she thought that was so cool. And then the police showed up way late, which was kind of dumb. We had already fought off the burglar, so thank you for nothing. And that's kind of what inspired her to be like, you know what? I could probably be a better police officer than that. And that's when she decided that she wanted to become a police officer. But also she has always loved telling jokes, making people laugh. She's just really funny and just a really fun sim. So she also has the joke star aspiration. Well, she only has the joke star aspiration, but she's gonna have her job be like police officer, of course. But yeah, she loves to make people laugh, and she kind of wants to keep doing that on the side as well. So she does that. She writes her own routines. She, in her free time, like on the weekends, goes out to bars or lounges to like perform her newly written routines to see how that all plays out. And she really, really enjoys that. So at some point, I feel like her passion for being a joke star actually, you know, takes over. And that's when she decides to when the opportunity presents itself, buy the property next door and turn it into a bar so she can actually run her own joke or like comedy bar or lounge or whatever. So that's gonna be her true passion later on, but she does want to work as a police officer for a little bit, so she's going to do that. And for now, she's living by herself. I think one of the goals for the Peach Gen is that they have to marry a coworker. So I think maybe we'll meet someone when we're working as a police officer. We'll meet a coworker and they'll end up getting married. I think that's gonna be really cute. I have no idea. We'll have to see who our coworkers are to see how that's going to play out, you know? So that's all very exciting to see how that's going to play out. And then she also loves to play music, and that's just going to be a hobby though. But I mean, if she is going to open her own comedy bar and there's also going to be space for musical performances, then maybe she wants to like get on stage and perform, like write some of her own music and like perform it on stage. So she really is multi-talented, and she knows and she does it all. And I'm really excited, like I said, to see how that's all going to play out. She definitely does want to start a family at some point too. I think after Peach, I think is the green gen or the blue one. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked into the generation that comes after Peach at all, so I don't know. Like, I don't know what's in store for us there, but that's going to be really fun. I think I want her to have at least 2 kids, maybe even 3. I think she is going to end up really wanting to become a mom. Like, it hasn't really hit her yet, but I think at some point it will. Yeah, so we'll see how that all ends up playing out. But she actually grew up in Henford-on-Bagley with her mom, the Pink generation, sorry, her mom, Wanda. After Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents, Wanda's twin brother is named Cosmo, so we kind of went with a Fairly Odd Parents theme there, which I thought was really funny. And we even ended up playing with Cosmo so much, like he ended up becoming a plant sim, and then the fairy pack came out, and then he became a fairy. Like, it was a whole thing. At some point, you know, we even really didn't play with Wanda as much anymore, especially ever since she had finished all her goals and things, all the things that we needed to do for the Pink Gen. Once that was finished, Cosmo kind of just took over because they all live together. We have Wanda and then her twin brother Cosmo and his wife, and they have a son. And his wife is actually pregnant again with, I think with one baby. I think we checked it. So they're going to have another baby. And his wife is actually a werewolf. I know, this gameplay is chaotic. I don't know if you can still follow. But Wanda, the Pink Gen heir, she is asexual, and she never had a romantic relationship. That was not for her. That was never something she was interested in. But she did want to become a mom. So she actually had a science baby with one of her best friends, Eric. And that baby obviously was Georgia, our Peach Gen heir. So Wanda had one baby, Georgia, and sadly enough, her dad, Eric, actually passed away really soon. I think when she was only a child. And that was so sad. Like, that was all through Neighborhood Stories. I had not planned for that to happen. I wanted her to have like a really fun and wholesome relationship with his dad and his dad's wife, and maybe even have some brothers and sisters on that side, you know? I think that would have been so cute, but Eric passed away, like, at a very young age. It was so sad. So that was very traumatizing for her. So all that never really happened. But then we did have Cosmo and his wife, Erin, and Erin is a werewolf. And Cosmo ended up becoming first a plant sim and then a fairy. So we basically have a werewolf and a fairy in a very wholesome, might I add, relationship. Like, they are so cute and like wholesome together. They're such a cute couple. And they did end up having a son, and he is also a werewolf, because they did have that child before Cosmo turned into a fairy. So he's a werewolf kid. He actually just recently turned into a teenager, I believe. Am I just confusing things now? No, I think he recently turned into a teenager. I could be wrong though. And then we thought it'd be funny because Cosmo is now a fairy. So we have a fairy and a werewolf. And for science, we wanted them to have another baby to see if that baby would be a fairy or a werewolf, or whatever ends up happening. Like, we don't know. So that's a fun surprise, but that baby won't be born just yet. So we will move Georgia out of the house and into this townhouse. And then at some point, that baby will be born, and we'll have to go back and check to see what ends up happening. But I guess we'll be at the house still. I'm sure we're gonna visit our mom and our uncle with the Peach Gen Air all the time, going back to Henford on Bagley to check on the family, and obviously they'll come over here as well. So yeah, it's very chaotic. And then to make it more chaotic, at one point, Wanda and Cosmo actually had their baby brother move in, because when they were already young adults and just living life, their dad, the Orange Gen Heir, actually decided to adopt a toddler, which was so random and very, you know, in character for the Orange Gen Heir, because he was very problematic and he did not raise his children the correct way, if there is such a thing, but he's very distant from his children, and he kind of abandoned the kits a lot when they were little. Like, they were just kind of left on their own. And so they didn't have a great relationship at all. And then the Orange Gen Heir actually ended up adopting a toddler, and he called them. He was like, you know what? I don't need you guys anymore because I have a new baby now. Goodbye. And Cosmo and Wanda were like, no, that's not going to happen. That's a terrible idea. So they basically went in, called the authorities, and essentially like adopted their baby brother, who was a toddler, when they were young adults. So their toddler brother actually grew up into a teenager with them in the house, and then he graduated school, like high school, early, I think, and then he moved out early because he was a very responsible kid. And so he met someone who was a mermaid, and they moved to Solani, and he was actually very much into farming. He really took after his big brother in that sense, because he also is obsessed with farming. He has like the most gigantic, beautiful garden. Like he's like a planter, like fairy, like nature fairy, if you will. He loves all that stuff. So yeah, his little brother also loved all that stuff, and but he also loved the beach, and his wife, his now wife, also loved the beach because she's a mermaid. So they live in a beach farmhouse with goats and chickens, and it's really wholesome. We don't really play with them anymore. We don't really see as much of those Sims anymore because you can only keep up with so many, you know, when you're playing Not So Berry. But that was so chaotic. Like, this Not So Berry Let's Play, like I mentioned, I do play it over on Twitch, has always just been so chaotic. I don't know why, but I feel like once I created this save file when I started playing Not So Berry, it's kind of like my game decided, okay, this save file, nothing is ever going to be normal and calm. Everything will always be chaotic, and it'll be crazy. I've never had a save file with this much like weird, chaotic stuff happening. It's actually kind of crazy, but it does make for very interesting and fun gameplay, and you just never know what to expect. So I'm really excited to see whatever ends up happening with the Peach generation. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. I wouldn't be surprised if we were to have like triplets or something. We just want to go for a second baby and then we'll end up with triplets or whatever. Like, I wouldn't put it past this game. I feel like something like that is going to happen at some point. I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to see. And then here you can see I am completely talking over the entire furnishings of this house. Like, I have completely talked over everything. I was so invested in my storytelling right there that I didn't even see myself decorate the kitchen. Like, I didn't even register that. But the kitchen was my favorite room of this house. I really love how that one came together. And then upstairs, we do have the space for 3 bedrooms. We don't need them yet, so I furnished 1 bedroom, obviously, for Georgia. It's a little crazy, like it's a little all over the place with all the peach tones, but then I also used some blue in there. And then here in the office, we have a really small room here out front that also has a tiny little walk-in closet. This one I turned into an office because she does need an office to like sit down and write her jokes and write her routines and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we have a little office here. And then also we have a second bedroom that, as you could probably see, I didn't really furnish all the way. I just kind of left it empty with some boxes and all those things because, you know, we don't really need it just yet, and we'll see what we end up needing it for. I did already paint that color, or paint that room green, because, oh, that's right, the next generation is actually green. I looked it up when I was building this house because I wanted there to be a room with green wallpaper so we can use that as the nursery for the green gen baby whenever they're born. So that's basically what that room is waiting for. If we need it for something else in the meantime, I'll probably just decorate it. Like if we want some like workout equipment or whatever, I feel like maybe we would need that when we become a police officer. I'm not actually sure though. It's been literally years since I've played the active career of police officer. Like I literally can't wait to like dive into that because it's been years and I don't really remember what to expect. I think you go over to people's houses and like investigate things, and sometimes you throw people in jail, I believe. So that's gonna make for some very dramatic and cool gameplay, and we'll have to see how that's all gonna play out. And then here in the backyard is where I just place a little dining table. We also have a cat. We kind of continued the theme of Fairly Odd Parents with that because we have a cat named Icky Vicky. And in the previous gen, we had a dog named Chip Skylark, who unfortunately passed away because he was really old. And then we adopted a cat, and the cat is going to stay with Georgia and move into this house. So that is Vicky, or as we like to call her, itty bitty Icky Vicky, because she's a kitten and she's literally like tiny, this tiny. Anyway, that's it for the house. So let's jump in the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have the townhouses in the game. I will also show you the interior for the blue townhouse because I did not record that. But yeah, here you can see we have some curb appeal going on. I feel like these houses tie in so nicely with the rest of this world, or this neighborhood, I should say, because look how colorful everything is. I feel like all the builds here are even more vibrant than what we went with, but still, I feel like it kind of blends in really well. And townhouses are just kind of fun to add here, I feel. So yeah, we have some little front yards here. We could have Georgia do some gardening over here. I don't know if she is into that at all. Not at the moment, but maybe she'll develop a liking to it. I'm not exactly sure. And then in the back, we have a really small backyard here with some loungers and a seating area, a dining table. We'll see what ends up happening if we need this space for anything else. I did place a litter box on the back porch as well. And then for the other townhouse, their backyard is actually slightly bigger, but there's not much to it right now. There's just a little picnic table. But when we turn this place into a bar, we'll see. Like, it'd be really fun to have some outdoor seating and stuff. Maybe even like a hot tub or something. So let me show you the peach townhouse first. We have this front porch here with some really nice peach colored rocking chairs. I just feel like that is so cozy. And then when we go inside, we have an entryway. I went for a bit of a more closed off floor plan because in my brain these houses were slightly older, though she did go ahead and renovate her bathrooms. I had to use stuff from the sleek bathroom kit because it came in peach tones, so I naturally had to use it. So the bathrooms are really nice and renovated. It's so pretty. And then here in the hallway we just have our everyday entryway hallway clutter, I guess. And then through this door, you enter into the living and dining. I really like this built-in shelving unit moment. I feel like it just looks old and something you would find in an old townhouse. So we have a nice dining table here attached to it. I cluttered it up. And I really like this wood color in combination with these dark blue chairs. And I definitely feel like this wood tone kind of counts as peach, right? It's sort of peachy. There is a piano in the back here, and obviously we have to have a cat tree. This is not Georgia. This is just my playtester sim in another save file, but she is watching some TV here. I love this living room setup, the peach tones and then the blue chair tying into the rug. I just feel like it is very pleasing to the eye, if you will. And then through this archway, all of a sudden everything is green. Well, not everything, but we have some green colors going on in here as well. I was so excited to see how these appliances from Cottage Living tied in perfectly to this tile from For Rent. Like how fun is that? And then especially combined with these orangey wood tone counters. We even have an actual bar here, and then I found these base game bar stools where the green also ties in perfectly to all the other green items that we're using in here. So I screamed a little when I discovered that that was going to go so nicely together, I will say. So yeah, that's the kitchen, my favorite room in this house. Then upstairs, we have a small landing with a gigantic cat tree because the cat runs this house. And then we have Georgia's bedroom in here. This one is so bright. I need sunglasses for this, but I do like the colors, like the peach and the orange and the blue is just really fun. This Love Struck furniture set also came in the perfect peach tone, so obviously I have to use that in here. There's just a small dresser and some little decorations. The soon-to-be nursery over here is kind of empty. We just have some storage boxes and a little clothing rack. Maybe these are her favorite jackets or something that she likes to wear when she goes to perform her comedy routines or something. In between here, we have a hall bathroom that, again, I used a lot of stuff from the Sleek bathroom kit for, but also a shower tub combo. And then over here, we have an office. It's a really nice office. Like, what a nice view when you just sit here using your laptop. I know the curtains are kind of closed, but you have a nice view over the neighborhood, and I just think that's so fun. And then there is also a small walk-in wardrobe attached here. And then we have the blue townhouse next door, which is not actually being lived in right now, so it looks a little yucky in some places. The wallpaper is really old and really needs to be replaced. It needs some fresh paint. The bathroom is, you know, very sad. Over here we have a really old kitchen that also definitely could use some love. We have some random furniture pieces in here. The floor plan is pretty much, if not all the way the same as the house next door. So yeah, it is basically the same, but it's just really old and there's not really any furniture. So there's gonna be a lot for Georgia to renovate when she buys this and turns it into a comedy bar. So yeah, that's gonna be really fun for her to do. But that is it for this build. So these peach and blue townhouses are up on the gallery as a residential. Like I said, you could also use it as a residential rental if you wanted to and just have it as rental properties or be the property owner or something like that. I built it on a 40 by 30 in the world of Innisgreen on the 42 Norm Fair Drive lot. So if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's going to do it for today's video. So you can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery. Like I just showed you, my username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can also follow me on Instagram if you'd like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so and turn on post notifications by clicking the little bell icon. I also live stream on Twitch, like I mentioned. So if that's something you like to check out, follow me over on twitch.tv/Simmary Sims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!